Hey everybody, welcome to episode 115 of the Bonehead Podcast, where we talk all things Blood Bowl. Jingle. Welcome back. I'm Ben, and once again, I'm joined by Blood Tithe Ben. BT, how's it going?
Hey, it's going really good, thanks.
Good. And we're also joined by TO extraordinaire Ian Triple Pow Triplo Trips. How are you today?
All good, thanks, gents.
Oh no, you've gone quiet again.
Oh no.
Ian's
we go.
Ian's audio has been popping in and out of booming and not booming. But hey, wouldn't be a podcast without some kind of tech issue. Anyway, Ben, what are we talking about today?
We're going to have a little rundown of Warhammer Fest, what, as little there was for Blood Bowl, but lots of other things.
Blood Bowl releases.
Yeah. But then we're also going to be doing a Dream Team draft, which I'm really excited for. Ben's idea that I think he came up with this morning, and
Yeah.
can go with it.
Well, it's like NFL draft season. And one of the things that, we all love about Blood Bowl League is you build your franchise, you build your stuff. And I was like, how could a Blood Bowl draft work? And I know we've talked about it before. And I thought, let's just go for it. So we're going to run out a 12-person, 12-player Blood Bowl draft. The idea being it'll kind of be fun, for one, but it gives us a chance to talk about what the best positionals are out there and why you'd want to pick something. So I think it's pretty much just a good fun experience. But I know we've all talked in the chat earlier today that maybe we'll, when Milton's back from his travels, run out a sevens draft and actually play the games out, which would be, right. That would be super cool. So I think we might have to hit that up later in the year. But yes, let's jump straight in to all the exciting news from Warhammer Fest. Right, I did actually forget that there's actually Blood Bowl news, so we've got a few bits to talk about, which is pretty cool. But first of all, a massive thank you to everyone out there who supports the channel in whichever way, whether you shop with us, whether you support us on Patreon or YouTube membership. And just want to give a massive shout out to our new Patreons this month: Rahira, David Warburton Burley, Jez Potter, Brendan McKenna, Cattle Bruiser, Matt Kerr, Luke Tognalini, Lexi Benson, Andrew Irvine, Ben Hayward, and a bunch of other awesome people. In fact, I got to hang out with some of our patrons last weekend when we recorded almost basically the first half of the Dungeon Bowl Championship, which is pretty cool. But it was very cool. So we'll talk a bit more about that in hobby. But for now, it's the beginning of the month, which means it's Patreon releases time, and the first one up on the list to talk about this month is the Punga Halflings Part 2 dropped yesterday, and I really do love this team. I loved it enough that I actually painted it. And the Part 2 has not disappointed. So Part 2, you got 2 more Hefties, which is weird because we had 2 Hefties already, 2 Catchers, which are quite entertaining, and a few more linemen, and a really weird bloaty tree that really just looks kind of like a fig. The spider tree is quite cool. I mean, what did you guys think of the first batch?
I love the first batch. I've always said, always said, it's not like it's been out for a while. I said when it came out that it's definitely my favorite Halfling team. I'm usually not a huge fan of Halfling teams. I think they can be a little bit janky sometimes. But this one is awesome. I do say I'm not a huge fan of the tree on this Part 2. I prefer the Part 1 tree.
The fig tree is not great, but that's the great thing about 3D printed, right? You can just mirror the tree.
Yeah, exactly.
And you've got 2. And you know what Punga are like. They're going to do a month 3, and month 3 is going to have star players, which means you're going to have a deep root chaos tree, I would assume. But did a test print of these yesterday and did a batch print of them today, so they'll be up on the store before this episode goes out because they are so good. And I think I'll do the happy slapping pass method and get the whole team painted, which would be fun to accidentally paint a whole team as I go. So yeah. Big fan of the Punga one. I look forward to whatever they come out with next month because I was not expecting Chaos Halflings. I was expecting pirates. So that's all right. Talking of unexpected, Ugni released the Amazon team last month, which was awesome. And then, again, kind of like expecting them to do star players and specialists, they've actually just dropped this really gnarly Nurgle team. And I was not expecting a whole team from them. I'm going to be honest with you. I've only kind of looked at this today, but it's like what they've put, swamp style Nurgle team, but it's kind of like moss zombies. I assume that's the Last of Us kind of vibe at the moment. I believe that. That mushroom zombies are really all the rage right now.
I mean, the level of detail on those is awesome, frightening from a painting point of view, but awesome to look at.
That's ugly, isn't it? It's just like, these are amazing. Painting them looks stressful, but I think with models like this, you can really get away with,
Quick passing.
Yeah, exactly. Using, quick methods and dirty things. And these are awesome. I love these so much. What a Nurgle team.
It is one of the best ones I think we've seen in a while. I do like the circus one from Punga, but the bloaters, the gluttons, 2 of 4, they're quite harrowing. The whole team is really harrowing. I think
it's a really unique take. Yeah,
I think this is perfect for College of Life stuff.
I was literally about to say that. Yeah. It's hard to fit Nurgle into the same sort of like cohesive team vibe, because I considered it when we did the Dungeon Bolt ones. Redoing it, adding Nurgle in, but it just feels a little bit, odd to. But like, this is perfect. This encapsulates the sort of fungal, side of it.
Oh my god, this team is horrific.
Yeah, the beast is quite scary.
Even the Pestigores, the Pox Chargers, which by the way is a very Games Workshop name. I love that. The Pox Chargers are fantastic. They're really creepy looking, and this big postulator leech thing, this looks properly like
Dark Souls, or like
it's
like an Elden Ring boss.
I was thinking Resident Evil villain. This is.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
That looks like 400 points of Age of Sigmar on one base.
Or 40k 10th edition. So Ugni, I mean, that's an awesome team. Again, we'll have that up on the shop by the time this episode comes out. Got to do test prints of those when the STLs drop. This is a very cool team. Like, that's very cool. And Torchlight have also done a great team this month. So Torchlight have dropped a full-on Chaos team. This is a massive release. There's 27 models in it, because they've got 2 lots of 4 Chaos Warriors, and 3 big guys. So the big guys are very much similar to their other teams. They've got a Chaos Ogre that looks a lot like their Ogre release, but with like creepy bucket head. They've got the Troll, which looks like a slightly more chaosified version of their Goblin and Orc team, and they've got the Minotaur, which looks like their Chaos Dwarf team. But the Chaos Warriors are awesome.
They're really cool.
I'm a bit gutted Milton's not here, because he's been talking and looking for like a decent 3D printed Chaos team, and I know that they the Corn Gores from the Corn team were not the best. The Beastmen here are similar but a lot better. Like they're a little bit less cartoony, but I think they've
done proxy into the Games Workshop Corn Gores, right?
Yeah. So,
these ones,
and they've got a whole bunch of mutated versions.
Yeah, nice.
Which is really cool too. The only flag on this one is they've got this weird little leaning pose, which I don't think is probably
too much.
They skipped that mini, that one.
Yeah, that's
a run like that.
That's an injury. That's just an injury.
Yeah, that looks like me trying to use dodge.
No, but I love the mutated Gores as well. I think it's just such a good touch. But no, so they've dropped that as well. That's available on their Patreon, which is very cool. And then what else we got? The guys that you found last month, Ben, that dropped the awesome Tomb King team. Realm of Paths have done a star players and support one. So they've got some cheerleaders. They've got some cool star players. Now they've got a Frank, which is very cartoony. I like it, but it is very cartoony. I think the Brute Fun one is a preferred one, but I do like the way they've done the lightning here. However, this might be the most awesome Bryce model ever.
This is great.
This looks like something from a 90s movie.
This is Army of Darkness, isn't it?
Yeah, Army of Darkness, Masters of the Universe. This just absolutely so.
It's Nick Cage from Ghost Rider.
Yeah. We want Nick Cage to have a chainsaw and be on a Blood Bowl pitch, and they've absolutely nailed it. So I really like that. They've got some other cool stuff there. The werewolf's all right, but the chainsaw guy's brilliant. And they've gone and I think they did a couple of extra Tomb Guardians, so you can kind of just add a bit more variety. I think it's a really good way to kind of fill out a release. It's just quite. I mean, the apothecary there with scissors and mummy rub, which is quite cool. They've done a great job. Realm of Paths is just brilliant at the moment. So loads of cool stuff for Blood Bowl. Even if there has been no articles about Blood Bowl apart from the one about the like the Staff League, which it was cool to see, but I didn't really have much in the way of content.
Filler article.
Kind of, yeah. Which is still cool. It's just interesting. The Warhammer community website is turning into what White Dwarf used to be.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Which I like, because I've got to admit, I check the Warhammer community website like throughout the day, just because I'm like, oh, an article dropped. What's that about? Give that a read, check it out, find out some more stuff about 40k or Kill Team again. But
I actually I know we're going to touch on this, but they're doing the faction focus stuff for 40k right now, and that is always like genuinely good stuff. Like that gets me really hyped. I know I'm buying into it. I know, but like,
I read the Tyranid one this afternoon,
stuff.
Man. The Tyranid
really
one
fun.
was cool. I like the new Tyranids. I don't like the price of the box.
No, well, alleged price, but it's it's going to be that, isn't it? So
on the plus side, it might be 160 from third parties or something.
Still, I'm not going to get it.
Not going to get the starter box.
No, I'll get the book on eBay. I've got my orcs. I don't need anything else.
That's
finally
true.
putting my foot down.
I could see people definitely picking up the Tyranids because they are awesome.
They're sick. Yeah.
I think there'll be a lot of box splitting people going, I want the Tyranids.
Can I sell the Space Marines? Yeah. All right, let's do it, guys. Let's talk Warhammer Fest. Now, as Ben hinted at, there was absolutely nothing there for Blood Bowl, which is fine. We've got to expect some kind of release at some point because it's been a little while. But hey, who knows? I'm sure we'll get something at some point. I don't know. What's the next event? Is there another event?
I mean, there's the tournament in July, but that's not really an event.
That would be cool, as we're going to be there.
Yeah, but I doubt they'll do it there. It's not a press thing, is it?
No. It's run by the events team, not the...
Yeah, I'm not sure. I still think like maybe dropping something like talking about the World Cup. I think they might, but I don't know.
That would be interesting. But World Cup is September.
Yeah, it's quite a way away, isn't it?
But they did the spoiler for the Amazons in July, didn't they? Because I was in Italy.
Yeah.
Was that part of a... Maybe it was just Warhammer previews. Maybe they'll just do some previews at some point for the next releases for Blood Bowl and just be like, hey, this is what's coming. Or
probably.
Or they'll Lizard Man team it and just drop it on a Sunday night, which I live in constant 6 p.m. anxiety of. And Tiff and I are always driving to the post box. Like we have dinner on a Sunday, and then we take a little family trip up to the post box to drop off all the parcels like from the store. And then we're always driving back about 6 o'clock, and I'm like, Tiff, check the news. I need to know if I need to rush home and make a video. But let's talk through some of the stuff at Warhammer Fest, just so if people out there didn't clue in or just hear about what's going on and just what's cool. So the biggest one is absolutely 40k, right?
Yeah, huge. New edition, talking a lot about it. I still think it looks pretty great. I had a friend who went and played a demo game.
Really?
Yeah, and he was saying it is good. But they always are demo games. They make them fun. But from what I've heard, what I've seen, I'm quite excited about it. I think there's a lot of positive changes in the game there. They had a codex roadmap, which is to be expected. There's going to be, months and months and months of slow power creep, I'm sure.
I want a roadmap, Ben.
It was the weekend of roadmaps.
Every system. Yeah. I did think of you trips.
I don't know what more there is to say about the 10th edition stuff other than, the models look pretty great.
So
and the rules look interesting.
this is the contents of the starter box, right?
Yes.
So you get a squad of Terminators, a captain, a librarian, a lieutenant, 5 war veterans, whatever they've called them now, and
Stern Guard, aren't they?
yeah, something like that, and 2 units. 2 units of 5 are Primaris with flamers or pyre blasters or something now they've called them, and a big old dreadnought with lots of guns and an apothecary.
This what I do like is this is very, remembering what 40k is, as in like kind of retro throwback, all of this stuff, like the Stern Guard a proper throwback, the Terminator's a throwback, making the Primaris dreadnoughts look like old dreadnoughts now. It's a real like cool change. I like it. I like what they're doing. It feels, again, maybe because I've been less terminally online than for this edition than I was for previous ones, I'm feeling more positive about it, and I think like they're really embracing it as I don't know, a game first and foremost, which I quite like it.
I do too. I love the Tyranid stuff. So the box has got a big what they call them, Tyranid Prime, some Hormigant shooter boys, like 20 of them. You've got some of the new brain termagants. You got some weird shield dudes. You've got a floaty boy. You've got a big Spider-Man. You've got 3 tiny lictors. Yep. And then you've got the Screamer lad, which is
Screamer
just
killer, isn't he?
a fantastic model. Yeah, all right. Space Marines look like Space Marines. I'm not even going to bother looking at those. But this Screamer lad is fantastic. The Screamer killer.
Again, another throwback, a real throwback.
Yeah.
Like, everything everyone remembers the old second edition, like, pointy boy.
But they've made them very alien looking, which is really, really, really cool. I like 40k, like I like the world setting, but like it's not really interested in me. But I love every one of the Tyranids, and I was reading the design thing, and they were like, "Well, we're trying our hardest to make them seem and feel and play alien, like really," and they've done it. Like they've just done an incredible job with these great new models. I don't understand what the point of the Neuro Gaunts are. I guess they're just chaff.
Oh, well, they kind of did this for Necrons as well. They kind of had little ones that kind of were extras in other bigger squads. I think they probably like that kind of thing. They look really cool.
The Leapers are so cool.
Everything's really Zerg now.
Yes, it is. Maybe that's why I love it so much.
Yeah, they've really lent into Zerg.
We just need alternative Primaris like dome heads.
Yeah. With all like southern accents and cigars.
No, that's some very, 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 very cool stuff. This lad's very cool. It's a slippery slope, and I think I'm headed that way, but there's still time. There was a bit of something for Underworlds. Not gonna lie, I've not really paid any attention to this. Like I loved the original Underworld Shadespire, and the hex-based game was really cool. But there's so many releases now that I'm just terrified of cards and rotation.
Yeah, I'm very much out of this as well. Models are cool.
And that's
game's all right.
Yeah, I've got a chunk, but literally it's like every quarter is 2 new war bands and chunker rules and
there's your roadmap.
Deck. Yeah.
Roadmap. So they've got spring, summer, autumn, winter roadmap for those guys. So Middle Earth had a teeny tiny release.
Little diorama.
Yeah, which is the little diorama's cool. You get a Black Rider, and do they have the little spider? They don't have the spider crawling over them. The bit where they hide in a hole in the ground as the rider sniffs around them. It's cool. It's a collectible. That's all right. All right with that. Warcry trips. What was occurring with Warcry?
Another war band and a good old roadmap as well, I think.
Is this another starter set?
I think they talked about, or was it Kill Team? There's definitely another starter set. I think it's Kill Team.
It looks like it.
This new box includes a stack of Gurish terrain. They just dropped.
So most of their boxes for Warcry are effectively starter sets.
Yeah. They usually have. I think they usually release them kind of like 3 at a time, right? Where like 2 are in a starter set with terrain, and then 1 comes on their own. Like, and then rinse and repeat.
And the terrain for Warcry is, as you can see,
it's great.
Pretty
This
massive.
is ridiculous. Like that's massive.
Yeah, this one looks like it really fits well with the other like terrain. I think they do that, don't they? Where they have like the realms, because they started off with like the Chaos realm and then went into something else. But
yeah, they seem to be doing that with Kill Team as well, right? I think that's a really good way of doing it. Like, then you kind of bundle the sets together. Although I think I saw, nope, that's Kill. Oh yeah, and another roadmap. Where's the Blood Bowl roadmap? Maybe there just isn't one. Then Age of Sigmar. Oh, this is interesting. So Sigmar is maybe one day, maybe we'll see. But they've released more of these Cities of Sigmar stuff.
Oh, these are amazing.
The cavalry is pretty cool.
I think these are great. These are like genuinely legit. Probably my favorite unit they've made in a while. Like, I absolutely love these.
It's a properly ramshackle effect.
Yeah. God, it might just be because I'm like, really binging Conquest at the moment.
Yeah,
like my 100
this
Kingdoms
looks like Conquest. Even down to the orange filigree, like it just looks like Conquest.
They were scaled up, I'd use them, but
yeah, massively scaled up. Yeah, that's some cool stuff. I'm not sure if there's a where is it? Dawnbringer Crusades, part of the next major narrative for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. That's actually quite a cool thing to play around in the setting. The forces of order trying to reconquer lands that's cool, and I like a narrative campaign. 4 Warriors of Grimportent usher in Dawnbringers, the next chapter of the Age of Sigmar. There's a couple of heroes for AOS and a book that will probably go out of date very quickly.
You'll have a Nurgle book.
Well, yeah, they didn't talk about it very long, actually, which was
cool.
Which was good. Bless them. I know, it's one of the things that really stuck out was but they didn't do that. But this model for the Nurgle boys, there's a Nurgle Chaos Warrior on a horse with a scythe, and this one again, Ben, like you said, harkens back to that's a classic 6th edition model from Warhammer Fantasy, which is cool.
Well, the end times kind of release where all the Chaos stuff comes out.
Nah, this was just like beginning of.
Oh wait, that's 8th edition, isn't it?
Yeah. Some ghoul guy, another Fire Slayer, and I love this model. This model is absolutely brilliant. Is it called a Rabble Rouser?
Rabble Rouser here.
So it's a goblin shaman with a big old skull on his head. It looks like that looks like Cubone from Pokemon, but it's just got little bat squigs, and that is awesome modelling.
Yeah, to get the squigs flying above him.
To get those bat squigs, yeah, I really hope that Brute Fun sees this, because I know he's working on the rest of the squig team and the goblin team, because that is flipping genius.
Although if this was in resin, I would be breaking those bat squigs nanoseconds.
One putting in the bag and half of one taking out.
Have you guys ever used like that durable resin stuff? What is it like? Is it Soraya Tech? Is that the one?
I don't know. I've never had a problem. Never really had a problem with standard resin. I mean, it has an issue if you drop it on the ground from a couple of meters onto concrete, then yeah, your model is doomed. Which actually happened to me at the weekend. 2 of the College of Beasts players took a tumble through space and time into obliteration.
Great.
Yeah, which was fun, but it's all right. Yeah, resin's great as long as I don't throw it at concrete. So Age of Sigmar looks like they've got some more heroes, and then they've got a roadmap too. Lizards, Nurgle book, General's Handbook. That'll be interesting to see. Cities of Sigmar in autumn. Looks like some kind of orc release, and it's a Dawnbringer's actual orc bit. All right, cool. So some interesting stuff coming from Age of Sigmar. There is a massive. What do you think of the massive Grunter pig?
This guy is really cool.
The pig chariot.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Is this the only picture of the model? Whoa.
More like Morka. I do appreciate
that. So it is. The video release was excellent, wasn't it?
I didn't even see this.
No, this is so 80s. This is wicked.
Yeah.
Yes, so it is just a massive, massive pig being ridden around by Black Orcs.
Yeah. Very cool. Very wide.
Yeah. That's all right. That's quite cool, I suppose. Then we had some bits. Oh, this is pretty cool, actually.
Oh, I love these. These have always been my favorite knights.
So the Cerastus class knight, which is the one who looks very much like a Cylon, like a tall Cylon with a spear and a...
Young people like me, I don't know what that is. So
Back me up here, Trips.
Definitely, you are right, Ben. Ben, you are uneducated.
I don't watch your, Boomer Star Galactica.
I know. from the depths of 2004. I mean, big old plastic knight. This is a tool boy, right? This has got to be bigger than the Paladin from 40k.
Yeah, they have these in what's the small scale one? Titanicus. They've had these out for a while, and I've always been tempted just to pick them up just for fun because I just think there's something cool about walkers using like actual weapons scaled up. Is incredibly cool to me. I always like those. I'm sure they've done it in other media, but in James Cameron's Avatar, the walkers have like their massive machine guns with like actual stuff. I think that's rad, and this is like the medieval version of that. So
there is something beautiful about Warhammer Knights, anyway. Like. Yeah. Back when I was playing Adeptus Titanicus, I had too many knights because I was like, I just want to have knights with flags everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. You got a bunch of nobles like sitting in their thrones, riding like massive walkers with medieval weaponry. Yeah,
it's like sci-fi gothic battle tech. That's what this is.
Exactly.
But the fact that there is a plastic kit coming out for it, that's. I mean, it's still going to be like £150 or something.
Oh god, yeah. I'm never going to buy it ever, but cool to look at.
Very cool to look at, and I think it's always going to sit on the edges of temptation, just because, like, that could be a great painting project to half build and leave in a box.
There he is, sat on his throne.
Oh, there he is.
That noble, yeah.
Oh, that is a very cool model. Only a couple of bits left to go. Some green dude and a yellow dude for what should be epic but isn't. Some beakies bouncing around. Oh, they've got a roadmap as well.
Oh, yeah.
And it's split between plastic and resin, which is quite cool. That's interesting. That's a good way to split it. Plastic Night Lancer comes in summer. A Mystery Army release in winter for Horus Heresy. But no mention of Epic, which would have been amazing. No mention of... actually, although there was this report to the Strategium thing that was spoiled that had like pictures of little units in places, but if I'm correct, it turned out to be like an app game or something. Craig said in our group chat anyway. There's little map with stuff on there where people are like, "Ooh, this could be epic," but actually it says Command Legions, and I think it turned out to be like an app game or something, which was disappointing. But I can live.
Yeah, Warhammer games are just. I was going to say they're hit or miss, but it's all miss with one hit every 10 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, I played a Knight one once that was good. Freeblade, I think it was called. That was quite good.
I think, yeah. Good for Warhammer. The bar's floor level.
Yeah, right. Warhammer the Old World. Not a massive release, not a massive surprise. 2 characters, right? Nothing else was shown. This was Sunday. I was quite looking forward to this one. Like the 40k big splash was Saturday, and then it was kind of like, right, Old World on Sunday. It was kind of like, ooh, what are they going to see? But a villain from a Brendan Fraser movie, which is
very true,
which is fine, like as a mummy, and a bog standard Bretonnian knight, which again, cool model, looks very much like.
It's got a lot of like people like this is amazing. Sort of the reaction I had to the Cities of Sigmar Knights, but like I really don't like this model that much. It's just so stumpy. I really don't like it. It doesn't look very heroic at all. It's just the proportions seem so wide.
Looks like a hefty knight.
Yeah, it's like a halfling Bretonnian. Yeah.
I think for me, it's just that this model is so flat that it could have been cast in metal.
Well, I think they are resin.
Yeah, but I mean, normally with Games Workshop resin, that just means there's 9 pieces. Like boa constrictor or something. But I mean, it is fine. It's just cool. It's just Fantasy Knight. Fantasy Knights are cool. You can't knock it because it's just a true fact.
The Cities of Sigmar release was for Old World. It would have been way more exciting.
I was expecting to see a little bit more. But Kill Team got some stuff. What do you think to the Ashes of Faith expansion trips? Did you see this?
I had a look at this. There look some really nice models in this. Kill Team is a dangerous size of models to get into because it's basically a box and they're pretty beautiful. And before you know it, you've got 15 kill teams sitting in a box, not painted, not assembled.
Well, this is a narrative campaign. You've got the Inquisition, and the Inquisition can team up with a bunch of the different kill teams that have been released this season, like the Scions, like the Judges and stuff like that, which is quite cool.
They've done a really good job of getting lots into the game, but enabling you to really try and play through it. It's quite a good job of sucking you into every new release is a new release that you want to do.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, it keeps you involved. They've got some cool chaos stuff. This stuff here it looks like Lord of the Rings. Looks like you got the mouth of Sauron in the bottom, and you got two kind of ring wraiths at the top. Cool cultists, and then the mutation stuff. Like these mutation models are just ridiculous. They're just crazy.
These came out, right? I think it's an existing 40k.
Yeah, these were in the preview on Sunday. Yeah, so I think they're up for pre-order.
No, these have been out. These have been like revealed a long time ago.
These?
Yeah, I saw these. Were these only just released now for Kill Team?
Well, they're not.
We have seen these for at least like 8 months.
Wow, I don't remember seeing these before.
Because there was that guy. I remember making a joke saying like, he was holding up the purity seal or whatever. It's like his receipt. It's like, I want to return this possession. It's not what I expected. And like,
this guy in the middle.
Because he's just having the worst time.
I don't know. I don't remember seeing him before. But
yeah, maybe. I thought they released them for Chaos Space Marines.
Oh, maybe they did.
But I might have been mistaken.
But I like what they've done here, where they've just got this this kind of expansion. It feels kind of halfway between Kill Team and Blackstone Fortress. Just that kind of like, here's your theme, here's your story element. I think that's a really cool way of doing it. Like Trip said, a whole bunch of cool models that you could almost paint. And then a couple more bits of Kill Team, Warhammer Heroes stuff. Yeah, all right. You ever bought any Warhammer Heroes bits?
No, you stay away from blind bag things. But
the BattleTech one does colour me interested though. But then I'm like, I can just print the battle next. And then the last bit that came out of the news was a Kill Team roadmap. So Gallo Dark, which is Tubby Space Dwarves and Beastmen. Is that right?
Yep. So
Ashes,
the end, yeah.
And then Ashes of Faith, which is the Inquisition Chaos stuff. Individual team releases. I like that they're using team. I know they're technically kill teams, but as far as, in Ben's world, each of these squads is a team.
It's Blood Bowl news.
Yep. And Kill Team Annual. Vips, you won't need that. I think you've already got everything. Then, new season. A new season in autumn. I just love this. I love the way they do this. Now, I was talking with some guys in Toyman at the weekend, and the tempo is super fast for Kill Team and Warcry, and even faster it feels like for Shadespire. Like they're kind of like, and the next box, and the next box, and the next box. I think it's caught maybe a little bit too fast, but maybe it's just like because of us being grognards. That's right, BT, you're getting there.
It's one big box a quarter, and new teams and terrain and detail. So there really is like every 3-4 weeks there seems to be, and the next thing on pre-order is.
Who has that much time to game anymore?
Yeah, I have no idea. It's crazy, isn't it?
Oh man.
But I feel like we spend a lot of our time like playing games, painting and stuff like that. And even I feel just like I could never ever keep up with this.
I want to play more games.
It's like
with
that's got to be in the top percentile.
Right, I know, it's crazy. But new season for Kill Team will be interesting. Where are they going next? They've kind of done Space Hulk. What did they do before the Space Hulk sets trips?
So before that, it was the Octarus was right back at the start.
All the platforms and stuff.
Yeah.
I.e. Necromunda terrain. All right, so they could go anywhere. Do you think they'll tie it in with all the Leviathan stuff?
I suspect they'll stay away actually because they seem to have put a fair old distance between pure 40k and Kill Team. Boarding Tactics has been very close, but that seemed to be a good way of getting everyone to buy the last few 40k miniatures before they all got re-released.
I'm still hopeful that they'll do that for Age of Sigmar. I just think it's too much of a no-brainer. Can you imagine if Games Workshop did plastic, old, obviously with a Sigmarite dungeon sets, and then I can't see them not doing it. It seems too obvious.
I'd do it for Warcry, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they tied Kill Team and 40k together, sort of, as it was dying.
Actually, didn't they kind of do that with Catacombs?
Yeah, which was 2.5 years ago now.
But they didn't tie it together with Age of Sigmar, though, did they?
Oh no, I guess not.
That's what I feel like.
Right, okay.
I think they did a brilliant job tying in the Kill Team stuff and the Kill Team boxes with 40k, because then you had 40k players going, "Oh, I need to get the Kill Team boxes to get the terrain."
Right, okay.
And you've got people who play Kill Team like, "I've already got the terrain, so might as well try out boarding actions." I think they pulled that off brilliantly.
To be fair, I do have friends who basically got into Warcry because they picked up the box with terrain in their Age of Sigmar games. Decided to play the Warcry.
Yeah, I just come on. What realm is everyone mincing around in at the moment in Sigmar? Beasts in Gur, right?
Sure, I'm so behind.
Come on. Battles in the tunnels of Gur, Ben. In the veins of the realm itself. Come on.
I don't have time to play it. It could come out and I'll be like, "Oh, that's cool," and then I'll be working on the project I've been working on for 3 years, so I haven't finished it.
Yeah, I know. Right, overall, guys, that was the Warhammer Fest stuff. There was no Blood Bowl, which is fine. They got some cool Tyranids, which I'll never play with. I might buy this guy, or someone will 3D sculpt a
Yeah, it won't be available on its own for 3 years, 4 years.
Yeah. One Page Rules announced at the weekend that they're revamping their Not Tyranids range. Just
Nice.
they're going back and redoing some of them to bring them up into speed and to add weapons in. But I love the floating tentacle beasts. It reminds me of the Enslaver from Rogue Trader and the Enslavers and Beholders. There's just something about them, like Overlord floaty things. There's just something
It's just unknown intelligence.
Yeah, they're just, I don't know. I really like them. I don't know. I'm like, yeah, I get you. Any cool picks from Warhammer Fest, or not that fussed?
No, I heard it was fine. That's usually the consensus I had of the event as a whole. I heard there were some issues with queuing. Seems to be the biggest complaint. Long queues to get into things, but the things that were there were pretty well handled.
I mean, I like that it was busy enough for queues. I think that's
a good sign.
That's good. I hope next Warhammer Fest there'll be a load of Blood Bowl stuff there, and because how exciting would that be? It won't be, but never mind. Never mind. Come on, Games Workshop. I just want you to release Blood Bowl stuff and Age of Sigmar in a dungeon, like just one of those two, or Battlefleet Gothic, or Epic. I just really want to give you my money, like. I'm trying really hard. I need more packets of stuff sealed in my cupboard. I've got a packet of the Nomads from Necromunda. They're sealed, that I bought myself the day I got my job, my permanent job. I celebrated by driving home and swinging by Games Workshop. They're still shrink wrapped, and I've got the Enforcers who are also still shrink wrapped.
Oh, geez, you need to play more games. I need to get you,
nice.
Give an excuse to build them.
Mm-hmm. Groovy. Okay, right. With that said, then, should we move on to the Blood Bowl draft?
Yeah, was there any news on Hobby? Because that was kind of news.
Oh my god, Hobby.
Do some Hobby talking?
Yeah. All right. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back with Hobby. Press record. Okay, so as Ben reminded me, we've not talked about Hobby or games and stuff like that. And so last few weeks of my life have been very busy with all kinds of stuff, and I've been ill with all kinds of stuff. I've got more surgery tomorrow. That'll be fun. Another invasive mouth surgery that I get to pay hundreds of pounds for. So woo! I need to stop scheduling them for a Thursday morning after the podcast.
There's much better hobbies, Ben.
I know.
You don't need to do this.
But in the last week, I did manage to paint 3 Dungeon Bowl teams and a dungeon, which I came to the end of the week, and I was kind of like, oh, I feel like I've had a rubbish week this week. And Tiff was like, I feel like you've done a lot, Ben. I was like, what do you mean? And I was like,
yeah, that's quite impressive.
I was like, all right, I painted 3 Dungeon Bowl teams and a dungeon. I was like, that's plenty. So this is Dungeon 2 of 3. And this is using this is Kraken Studios. This is the Kraken Mole King's Lair stuff. And I think it's great. I did a cheeky bit of spray, cheeky bit of dry brush, added a bit of colour, and added a line. That one's quite really poorly done, actually, but that's fine.
It looks very Blood Bowly.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah, well, yeah. So I had a good time doing that. Then I went to Entoyment. And this weekend was the weekend where I put a post out for Patreons. Tiff was working all weekend. It's bank holiday weekend. And I was like, right, I can't go far. But, I thought, well, I could do Entoyment, do some filming. Forgot it was like the NAFC. But when the NAFC went live and tickets went up, I was not free this weekend. And this weekend came free a couple of weeks ago. It was kind of like a couple of months ago. It was kind of like, well, I can't. I've missed the NAFC this year. And then, went to Entoyment, set up the RPG room, was shot over on the Friday night. This is Dungeon 1. Got that out, got the cameras all set up, said hello to everybody. And then Saturday, had Nick come down, and then Stu. And then on Sunday, Chris came over, and it was awesome. So I played 2 games Saturday with Nick, and then caught up with Stu in the afternoon. It was awesome. It was great to just hang out, chat, grab a burger from Entoyment, and then same again on the Sunday. Appreciate everybody driving around. Stu's localish, but Chris and Nick actually came down from Kent.
Wow.
Which was amazing. So they drove over a couple of hours to come and do some filming, and I got to use the RPG room, got to get the fancy lights out, got to put a dungeon out, and had a really good time playing some Dungeon Bowl. I'm not going to spoil the results because I don't want people to know, because obviously this is going to be the Dungeon Bowl Championship. But yeah, it was really good. The only downside was that I planned to play Beasts as game 3 on the Saturday, and then I got these little cardboard boxes, and one was not empty. I thought it was empty. I actually had the Beasts team in, which was all fine, except that I lost the beer ball, and actually genuinely just couldn't find him. And the rat ogre, one of Brute Fun's rat ogres, bounced just directly into the concrete and had a permanent injury, should we say. So I had to shimmy the schedule around, and then Saturday night kind of painted up some replacement pieces. So yeah, painted over 3 Dungeon Bowl teams.
Impressive amount of hobby.
That is really good.
It was so weird though, because I finished filming on Sunday, came home, I was hanging out with Tiff, and I was just sitting there. I was like, I can paint whatever I want now. I was like, I don't have like a pile of stuff. Like, there's no like painting anxiety, which is like a brand new feeling. I was like, cool, I've invented a new kind of anxiety. Which
We'll make up a new one.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah. A bit like end of this podcast, and we'll come up with a new one for you.
Well, I'm not going to lie. The prospect of the secret team, Secret Sevens, is coming up. But I need to, I know how much you love trolls, so I don't want to. I don't want to. Spoiler alert: there will be a troll team, and I think Ben and I will be rock paper scissoring.
What, and then choosing the winner because we both know what we want.
So that was cool. That's my hobby. I played 5 games of Dungeon Bowl, painted 3 Dungeon Bowl teams, and printed and painted a dungeon, and that's good. I'm happy with that. That's all right. How about you guys? Anything fun? Anything exciting?
I painted one of those Dungeon Bowl teams.
Yes, you did.
You had a replacement College of Life one.
Oh, dude, the College of Life, the skin tones on the war dancers were insane. They are eyes as well. Oh,
One of them isn't great, but yeah. No, I actually had a bit of practice on the skin, which was good. I used because they have big exposed torsos, so I thought I'll take this time to maybe do a bit of skin improvement, and yeah, they came up pretty good.
very good.
Thank you. Yeah, other than that, I've been turning attention to Conquest. So a few of my friends were getting really into Conquest now. Finally convinced people to get into it. Oh, you sent that. I can send you an updated one. I finished it model.
Oof, weathering
so-
needs a bit of work.
Yeah, it was a test model I did. Well, I did that during lunch, and then I finished it this afternoon. I have the finished one here. But yeah, I'm really happy with the scheme. Going with 100 kingdoms. Going to do a whole bunch of shields that are like different. So that's just one. I'm going to make them all completely different because the idea with this army is they're militia. They come from just their own households. There's thousands and thousands of them. So bring their shield along. But yeah, so I'm going to be cracking on that. What's the paint?
I have been truly conditioned by Games Workshop to think of like nightly orders and stuff, and now I think of like 40k knights. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, man, if you got one of those night kits, Ben, the weathering you could pull off. I'm assuming this glow is done with the magic of an airbrush.
That's entirely yellow, just straight yellow, and then walnut ink. That's it.
Hey.
So there's like a green stuff boiled walnut ink. Yeah. What's it called? Walnut brown. Yep. And then you just spray it on there. Oh, and then a bit of black ink at like the very edges.
I
that's what that is.
hugely approve of that painting method.
Yeah, it's very quick. Like I said, I finished the model. So that was during lunch. That was an hour to get that, and then finish the model in about 2 hours. Because I tried to keep them like really small because I've got I think 36 of these. So
oof, goodness
yeah.
me. The College of Life team was amazing, Ben.
Yeah,
like absolutely amazing. People loved it. It was just outrageous. The mecha snotlings was just absolute
I'm
highlight.
really happy with them. Yeah, I'm proud of them.
You're gonna have to explain yourself at some point where you got these models from, because that's just
they're from Lost Kingdom. So
same as the War Dancers.
And so are the War Dancers. Yeah, it's a range I really like. They have, I think their Wood Elf range is quite like leaning into Japanese. Hence the top of the snotlings look like bonsai.
Style.
Yeah. But the War Dancers are very much like ballet posed, and I think they were quite appropriate. Sorry, I broke the antler. So if you saw the broken antler on one of them, that wasn't you, that was me.
Actually, the thing we got worried about was the finger.
Oh no, that was also me.
Yes,
I also broke the finger.
I'm so pleased to see this in the picture, because who was I playing? I can't remember if it was Nick or Chris, but they were like, I might have broken it, but it looks like it's been painted. I'm not really sure.
Fragile. Yeah. That's why I asked you earlier about you can get resins which are like flexible, and I really need to do that because the resin I'm using is so brittle. Like I was holding a model earlier. Thankfully, I don't need the model anymore because it's the wrong size. But like, I just put the slightest bit of pressure on the hilt of their sword, it just snapped straight off, and I'm just like, oh, what? This is ridiculous. Yeah.
I'm showing off your hobby now, guys. This pile of magic from Trips. What have you been doing?
So that pile is now 25 frames high, and that is a gaming board that can be assembled. So I've printed all the tiles, printed all the tiles that go on top of it, the locks, the storage stuff to keep it all together. I'm just finishing off. I was printing the legs. That was it. Printing the legs this morning. So.
I love how efficient this is. Like the fact is like all holes. So it's like the actual, it's not that much plastic. Like
it's not that much plastic. It doesn't need a massive amount of infill. It's really strong when it all comes together.
Yeah.
Really light. Nicely. Fits in a good old calyx box. It's almost like it's been designed nicely to be hidden away. So yeah, really pleased with it. But I've been burning the printer for the last 3 weeks, I think, on it.
That's amazing. Like I love it, and this is something that I've started to really enjoy with 3D printing, is just printing stuff and not thinking about what you're printing. Like not think is obviously printing anything, whether it's plastic or resin, takes effort, but just being like, right, print clean, put to one side. I did that with the dungeon, and it was like I came to the point of like, oh, I really need to build this now, and I just like upended a box with all the bits in. I was like, okay, wow, actually just, doing it's that classic, like do a little bit a day and then at the end of the month you'll be like, wow, look what I've got. But I think this massive pile of table is a real like testament to that and makes me super excited for a dungeon version of Age of Sigmar. Because or Kill Team or Necromunda or Dungeons, because there's just something about building terrain and building tables and like printing something and having stuff, having a thing at the end of it. It's just amazing.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah, pretty good. And I had a good hobby sorted out all my Kill Team and Munda terrain, and found that I thought I was like, oh, I've got enough to make a board, and then I realised I had enough to make 2 boards, and then I found another box of terrain and realised I probably have enough to make 3 completely separate boards, and then I realised I'd printed out half a city as well. I was like, yeah, I think I have plenty.
I need to stop. I just want to show off some hobby that Milton did, because he's not here at the moment. He's in the Philippines actually for a month, which is very cool. He finished off the College of Metal for us, so he painted up a few extra positionals, being some more orcs. It didn't take much to convince him to paint some orcs, because Milton loves orcs.
Yeah.
So this was cool, and this is a proper powerhouse of a team. College of Metal. It's
a beast, isn't it?
It's just great. It's just great. And the wizard is also just great.
The fact they get the human blitzers is just not fair.
Human blitzers, orc blitzers, berserk blitzers. Like, it's just outrageous. It's just such a good team.
It's a team that doesn't scream subtlety, but does scream, yes, put me in a small corridor and you'll regret it.
A monster of a team. It's so good. And it was so much fun playing with all the different college teams this weekend, because it's like, oh yeah, this team does this. This team has this. And they've all got their own unique identities, which is pretty sweet. That said, I still maintain that Dungeon Bowl with standard teams is actually a brilliant place to be. So if you're umming and ahhing about Dungeon Bowl, just play with the regular teams. Like, do not worry about it. Grab your Skaven team, grab your Lizardman team, grab whatever team you got, and just play in the dungeon, because the dungeon setting is more than enough to shake up the game. So I don't overthink it, because it's just awesome. But it's just really, really, really cool. Any more, guys?
No, I think that's it.
What have we got going on? Got Dorset Dungeon Bowl in 2 weeks as this episode comes out, which is very exciting.
I love the fact that Milton is on holiday and is in the Philippines and still managed to remind us where we are for rosters and sorting it out.
Yeah.
That's what I call impressive organisation OCD.
Well, I'm off on holiday next week, so I can start going through all the rosters that have been submitted, and then hopefully that'll be the most of it. I'll put a post up towards the end of the week reminding people. But it's Dungeon Ball, so the rosters are quite complicated. So that'll be good fun. Tournament's going to be busy. Entoyment's going to be busy. We're still working out whether or not there's going to be enough space for us to stream, because streaming takes 2 tables, which is enough space for 8 players, if you think about it. So we may not be able to stream it, but if we don't, then actually we'll just be hanging around checking out the games even more instead. So I'm happy either way. It'd be sweet to stream it, but actually, if we can't do it, we can't do it. It doesn't massively matter. It's not like the channel's going to be short of Dungeon Ball content over the summer. And then, we've got Secret Sevens lined up, and then we're going to do the Sevens draft, and then we're going to go into the next Bonehead Championship. And, I don't want to speak too soon, but we found a house that we liked. We put an offer in. The offer was accepted. It's now going through all the legal shenanigans. So hopefully that goes on and goes all right, and we can start building the Bonehead studio at some point, which is
some fun ideas about that today, didn't you?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I've been mapping things and measuring things. There's the garden of the house we're trying to buy it's got a really nice plot at the back of the garden for a gigantic shed. I've been on sheds.co.uk like every day, like obsessing over it, but like, come on, let's get this house so I can buy my 12 by 10 shed. It's like a barn at the end of the garden. Yeah. It's going to be the Bonehead barn. I
will be there. I will be there a lot.
The great thing was, I mentioned to the guys at the weekend, I was like, yeah, no, they were like, how's the house hunting going? I was like, yeah, we put an offer in. And they were like, oh, was it the haunted one? I was like, no, I don't believe so. Like, we didn't get the haunted one, or the one that seemed haunted. But I feel like the beginning of every horror movie starts out with like a really happy couple getting their dream house and moving in, and the first 5 minutes is just like, oh, look at how happy they are, they're really good, and then they all immediately die, setting the scene for the rest of the movie. And I'm being super cautious at the moment, let's put it that way. Like the beginning of Annabelle was like the happy couple, with all the stuff, and then all of a sudden they're just like murdered and demons, and I was like, oh, okay. Anyway, sorry to bring the mood down and a bit culty. Anyway, can we do that? Can we do the draft now? Yeah.
Let's do the draft.
All right, let's do the draft. Okay, so I got excited about the NFL draft, and we talked about, how we could do this for Blood Bowl. And I want to be clear, this is a dream team kind of build for 11s. At some point, we'll do a 7s actual draft and then actually play with the teams. But this one with 11s, with our schedules and stuff, ain't going to happen right now. But it is a very cool exercise. And from this, we can talk through some of the best players in the game, and also kind of just have a bit of fun kind of doing a draft, because it's always fun drafting. I think drafting is probably my favorite board game mechanic, and there's just something exciting about it. So if you are watching on the YouTube version, we've got a little counter on the left hand side that will keep a track of how much team value we have spent with our picks. And as we go into each round, the coach with the lowest team value will get the first pick in that round, and the second. Basically, we'll do it in like reverse team value order. So if you pick a load of expensive stuff first, it will hamper you in further rounds. Now, we're going to do this in reverse seniority. So we're going to start by saying to Trips, what pick would you like? 1, 2, or 3 to begin?
Oh, definitely 1.
All right, so Trips will go pick 1. BT, happy with pick 2?
Yep.
All right, now the guys have got a side of a spreadsheet, so they should be able to enter their own picks, but if you guys get stuck, then please do let me know. But let's begin the draft. So overall, first pick, Trips, who have you got?
So it'd be really tempting to go Gutter Runner, because there's only 2.
I know.
And we could have a Gutter Runner run. But I think I'm going to go for a similar kind of player in terms of speed, but more flexibility. And I'm going to take the werewolf.
Oh, interesting. That would have been
That is a potent pick 1. Are they really 125k as well?
Yeah, that's a scarily large amount of money, but with regen as well.
That's excellent. Okay, so Necro Werewolf is the first overall pick. On to Ben for pick 2.
So I think along the same lines of it, I'm going to go with a undead zombie line. No, okay, I'm not really going to do it. I had one in mind, which I wanted first. I do think that it gives Gutter Runner to Ben, but he's going to get one anyway. So as good as they are, I may get one in a minute. I had similar thinking to Trip, saying flexibility is good. And I'm going to go with a War Dancer. I think having one War Dancer is always going to be good. They do everything.
All right. I am super happy with this for a couple of reasons. First of all, it means my first pick can be the Underworld Gutter Runner.
The better Gutter.
Yep, he is strictly better. Yep. Now that puts us into round 2, and the lowest value is me. So for pick 2, I will take the other Gutter Runner.
We expected this.
That's interesting. I did have a cool backup line. But the War Dancer, Necro, Werewolf, and Gutter Runner. This is not a surprise for any of these players, right? So
I don't know. That's true.
As you are both at the same value, it will be in the player who picked last. So it's Blood Tithe will go next.
Okay. Interesting. So, I feel like now is a good time to get the best lineman.
Interesting.
because I think there are a lot of positionals at this point which do similar things. Although I know Trips, and I think I know what he'd take here. No, because there's also a good chance. Okay, I'm actually gonna do this. I'm gonna take the best lineman, and I'm gonna go with. Hang on, if you take a lineman, is it just one lineman, and then if you take that lineman, no one else can take that lineman?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. This is Highlander.
Yeah.
There can
So
be
we
only
could run
one.
out of linemen.
We've got 12 spots. It's fine.
Yeah, there's a lot of good choices. Sorry, this is actually harder than I thought.
I'm just thinking, just watch me draft a Skaven team.
Yeah, that's what I think is going to happen.
It's going to be a Skaven team with a sprinkling of Underworld.
Okay, I'm going to take the skink.
Yeah, Milton was talking about the skink. And I think
it's cheap, so it's going to be good for the next draft.
Yeah,
and
next round.
I think having that is just super useful. It's a fast stunty player, which is always going to be good. Yeah, I'm happy to have one skink.
All right, okay. Trips, over to you.
Oh, I'm not going to go lineman. I feel like, along with the werewolf, I feel like I could do with some blitzing ability in my team.
Norse Berserker.
I'm going to take the Amazon Blitzer.
Oh, do you mean Blitzer or Blocker?
I mean the depends. No, I mean the Blitzer.
You mean the Blitzer? It's movement 7, hit and run.
Yep.
Okay.
The Amazon Coucher.
I played against Ben, and hit and run was an amazing ability.
So the next pick will be the Chameleon Skink. Actually, the Amazon Thrower's got on the ball as well. All right, wicked. So that takes us into round 3, and it will be me, then BT, then Trips for this round, as we go in there with cost. Okay, this is hilarious, but actually, I'm going to take my third pick, which is exactly was going to be my backup pick for round 2 actually, because we got 2 awesome scoring threats, arguably the best scoring threats in the game, and I am going to pick inarguably the best thrower in the game, the Underworld Skaven Thrower. Movement 7, passing 2+, sure hands pass, great skill access, including mutation, so you can give him extra arms for that 2++ pickup, you can give him extra heads to basically make him a 2+ dodger, or you just on the ball, accurate, just an absolute ball dispenser. I love the Skaven Thrower. My one's awesome in my league team, and you just can't go wrong. So I'm super happy with that. Put me at 255 after my third pick. I am just drafting a Skaven team here, but there's probably a reason for that, because they're the best.
Well, seeing as Trips didn't take it, I'm going to go with the blocker. I think strength 4 blodge is always going to be good, or assuming you get a skill. So, yeah, I'm taking that. It's expensive, but
I was interested to see where the strength 4 Amazon would go, like how high we had them rated, and I mean, definitely up there. Which leaves you, Trips, for round 3 pick.
So for round 3, continuing my scattering round the races, I'm going to stay with the causing chaos, and I will stick in.
I love it.
The Troll Slayer.
Yes, I love the Slayer. I was thinking about this when I was driving back from the post box. I was like, the Troll Slayer has got to be one of the top picks. And I thought, well, there's a couple of other good ones that, the Ulf is potentially a good rival, but the Slayer having block gives him a really good stability platform. So I love that. So round 4, it's going to be me, BT, and Trips again. My strategy of taking cheap stuff at the beginning is paying off. So I got a thrower, I got 2 scoring threats. I really need to start looking at hitting power, I think. Now, if I take a big guy, it's going to get my TV up quite high. But I think at this point, big. There's this. No, actually, I know exactly what I'm going to take. What did I call it? Here we go. Right, I'm going to go for the Imperial Nobility Blitzer.
Interesting.
Pick 4. Okay, great Blitzer. Great speed, has block, good armor, good agility, good movement, 7. Catch as well means that actually I've got the 2 underworld, I've got the 2 gutters, and a great thrower there who's going to be able to 2++, 3++ pass to a second, like basically a tight end. So my blitzer can be a blitzer, could be a good bit of safety, but also a hybrid scoring threat, which I think will go really well with my Skaven team. That's my pick for the Imperial Nobility Blitzer, who is basically a tight end.
Well, along that line, I'm going to take a Dark Elf Blitzer.
Oh.
I imagine Trips is going to get one of these at some point. But, I think it's pretty much the exact same train of thought there. You've got a fast piece that can catch a ball, that can support the War Dancer.
That's just a better pick, actually. I got excited by the prospect of having catch, but I don't know. Yeah, right. The Dark Elf Blitzer is probably I think I took a mispick there.
Keeper 2 for some reason.
yeah. I would not give myself a good draft grade for that one. Okay, Trips. Who's going to buddy up with the Werewolf, the Amazon Blitzer Catcher, and the Dwarf Troll Slayer?
Well, so I was wondering when the Elven Blitzer run would start, and I think we've started it now. So I will pop in with, if I can find the right one, I will have some sidestep.
That's fair.
That's I can't believe
taking the sidestep over the high elf one with the armor. Yeah, that's fair.
I do. Yeah, I think that's really good. Okay, well that leaves us with the same pick order in the next round as well. I'm still tempted by a big guy, but actually I think there's enough big guys out there that I don't need to take one super high.
Are we drafting this with the concept that we're playing them against each other? Because I think that matters.
Yeah.
Because I think a general draft is in these could face any team, or is it specifically to face these?
Specifically to face each other.
Okay, I think that's why big guys matter. I think. Yeah.
Well, I mean, big guys are excellent no matter what.
True, but I feel like
if you got the right big guy.
Yeah, I think if someone has a big guy, it might incentivize you to take another big guy because then you get the kaiju fights. You got someone to take them on, but.
Okay, I think the correct choice here to try. I think I'm scrambling now because I kind of. It's a good player, but I think we'll just join the ranks of Elven Blitzers here.
Yeah.
I think the Nobility Blitzer was too high. But I've got 2 good block pieces, 2 good movement block pieces. Catch is good. I'm all right. I'm okay. I mean, with my top 3 picks, it doesn't matter what else I get. It'll all be fine. So that's me, High Elf Blitzer, pick 5 for the green team. On the red team, Blood Tithe.
Yeah, thinking here. I think this is the piece I'm gonna take. Hold on, I'm just thinking about it.
It's really interesting, isn't it? And it's kind of cool to see how many great pieces there are out there.
Yeah, I had one clearly in mind, and I'm that kind of doubting it. But I think it's so good.
War Dancer, Skink, Strength 4.
I'm going to take the Valkyrie.
The Valkyrie.
They're just so useful. Having like the Dauntless as well, and like Strip Ball, it's just they have everything that is just like makes them such a Dauntless, Strip Ball, Pass, Catch. It's like, do they have Pass?
Yeah.
Pass and Catch, don't they? Just like 4 skills which can come in clutch, like whenever you need them. So I think it's just an all-round good player to have.
Yeah, I find it very hard to argue with that one. Trips, your pick 5 to round out the round.
So I've gone with the full range of sort of blitzing and frenzy and some speed. So I'm really going to continue down the chaos line And I'm worried someone else might pick this guy off the board soon. So I'm going to pop in
Oh,
the bomber.
Goblin Bomber. Now, do you want the Goblin Bomber or do you want the Snotling Bomber? Because the Snotling Bomber actually has pass access, so you can give him accurate.
I want the Goblin Bomber.
what's the strength 2?
Now, that's survivable strength too. I like that pick. That is.
Are we keeping this within 1,000 as well? By the way,
No, God, no.
no, it's just going up and up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, there's a couple of things here. I think we're going to see grouping, which is what we've seen, and it'd be interesting to talk about that at the end. And also, I want to see kind of how high we're going to end up. Okay, so that's round 5. So going into round 6, it's going to be me, then Trips, then BT now, because Trips has snuck in a cheap player there.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, right. I've got 2 scoring threats. I've got 2 hybrid scoring threats there in my tight ends. I've got a brilliant thrower. Kind of can go meat on the line or decent kind of linebacker. And I think I've already mentioned this player, and I think there's a reason I've mentioned this player is because they're just awesome. And it is going up. Ooh. Which is more awesome? Which is more awesome? I'm going to go with the movement. I'm going to take the Ulf Warrener as my 6th pick because I think it's just one of the best linebackers out there. Also considering the Corn Boy, the Bloodseeker. That was my kind of other pick. But now I've got 2 fast, decent blitzers, a thrower, 2 very fast scoring threats, and the Ulf to just kind of cause a problem in the backfield. Now, Trips. You are up.
Yeah, well, we've gone with the Goblin Bomber, and we've caused some chaos with that. But we really ought to concentrate on the ball. And having played with this guy in one of my leagues recently, and he being awesome for throwing the ball, that's the high elf thrower off the board.
Wonder when he will come in.
You do love the high elf thrower.
2+2+ for agility and passing. Yeah, very flexible player.
I guess there's a reason you're top of the league in completions. I love it.
Okay. I think it. You said we're playing against these teams.
Yeah.
And I see there 2 gutter runners. I'm wondering if we need some tackle.
How many players actually have tackle? Is it
Dwarf Blitzer has a tackle, right?
No, Dwarf Blitzer only has
the
block.
blockers. Yeah, the blockers do. Oh, and they're slow as hell.
Yeah.
Then never mind.
We're
going to go to phase 2. Which is the backup plan.
It's a lot harder when you're in the seat. I thought about putting a timer together, but I don't think we've been fine.
I think, okay, here's a thought. If we're playing against these, then inducements are a thing, right? You can get a tackle that way.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah.
Cool. That might be the way we go. So let's start taking. Where are they? Where is it? Gone. The Skaven lineman.
You can't find the Skaven lineman.
He ain't there.
It might not be, to be fair.
Underworld Skaven clan rat. There we go.
He's just been.
Skaven clan rat lineman. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Ben's just hidden all the Skaven under some other name, so he can only pick them himself.
I'm going to take an Underworld Skaven clan rat.
That is a very solid choice.
I think at some point, I need to keep TV low and have some linemen in there.
Right. Well, with that in mind, going into round 7, Ben, it's now you, then me, then Trips, because you took a cheap but excellent player, which I haven't done yet. Although I guess the throw is cheaper than your picks. It does mean Ben goes back to back now with his picks. Oh,
Let's get a chainsaw in there.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah.
The backup safety, you know.
Okay, right. With that in mind, what have we got? So, good sweeper. I could take a second sweeper, which would be nice, but I think I've got a plan for that. I think I need some strength on the line. I think actually a good front line is what's missing from this. And choices, I think for a good on the line big guy is gonna be.
Sorry, I like this. Is basically like make your own Chaos Pact team.
It certainly seems that way. I think we're going to go for one of the most frustrating but unglamorous players in Blood Bowl, the Croxagore.
Brilliant. Okay.
Nice.
Which I think is a nice centerpiece for a line. Prehensile Tail is excellent. It's just one of my favorite skills in Blood Bowl at the moment.
It is brilliant.
And Bonehead means he's really, really usable. As far as big guys go, he's one of the most consistent. I think the Ogre is the only one that's better because they don't have Loner. But PHT means you don't even need to activate him. And movement 6 as well. So I'm happy with my Croxagore choice. Does rocket my team value way up, though. I've been trying not to take a big guy for a while. Which brings us to Trips for pick 7.
Wow, so I've got someone who can throw the ball, and I've got a little bit of catching options, but I feel like this is going to be games where there's not a lot of empty spaces, and the ability to catch is going to be crucial in a tight space. So I fancy some Nerves of Steel.
Yeah, that's an excellent pick. I wondered how long before they came off the board. Oh, I've got my chair all twisted. All right, so that wraps us out for round 7. So picks so far: me, Underworld Gutter, Skaven Gutter, Underworld Skaven Thrower, Imperial Nobility Blitzer, High Elf Blitzer, an Ulfwerener, and a Croxagore. Walk into a bar. BT is running a War Dancer, a Skink, an Amazon Blocker, Dark Elf Blitzer, Valkyrie, and an Underworld Skaven Lineman and a Goblin Chainsaw. Trips with the Necro Werewolf, the Amazon Catcher, the Troll Slayer, an Elven Union Sidestep, Blitzer, Goblin Bomber for the Carnage, High Elf Thrower, and an Elfen Union Catcher. That takes us into round 8. Pick order for this round is going to be BT, then Trips, then me. You got your thinking face on, Ben.
I really am thinking. I think I'm a bit worried about my bash level. I think I'm a little bit too squishy right now. But I don't want to spend too much money. I'm going to go with a solid player.
Got 5 picks left. I reckon we're going to end up
this should be first
around about 1100, I think.
I'm going to go with an Orc Blitzer.
Hey, they're
pretty cheap, but very solid. Kind of do exactly what you need them to do. I wouldn't be unhappy to have this on my team. So.
Yep, like it. Orc Blitzer is a solid positional. Okay, Trips. What do you got for 8?
So also worried about my line of scrimmage, but not quite as cheaply worried as Ben is. I will take the Black Hawk.
Yeah, it's an excellent piece for the line.
Especially with a frenzy piece to grab him around into. So.
So I know I've got a pick that I need to take for the team, but looking at the rosters that are out and about, I'm going to take something that I wouldn't normally take, but I think in this little brew up that we've got going on, I think this player will do a really. I think they'll be really handy, and that's the Dark Elf Assassin. War Dancer, Skink,
Yeah.
Amazon Blocker, Valkyrie, Skaven Clanrat, Goblin Looney, Elven Catcher, Goblin Bomber, Dwarf Troll Slayer, Blitzer, loads of light armored targets there. Up for a cheeky stabbing, plus movement 7 and edge 2 plus. Also going to combo there. So I got 2 movement 7, 2 movement 9, great thrower, 2 good bits of edge. I think the assassin is just a nice middle guy. Plus, not bad to go on the line, if I'm receiving. So that rounds out round 8. So going into 9, we're gonna have Ben, then Trips, then me.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take a dwarf blocker lineman. I think the tackle is going to be handy. It's someone again to go on the line that can take a punch.
Yeah.
And there's also, I just think it's a solid player. Bit boring, but I think one of them is really handy.
Yeah, that's an excellent pick. And that will take us over to Trips. What do you got, Trips?
So I'm a little bit worried about my ability to hold the line of scrimmage still, but also don't want to spend all of the cash. So I'm going to pick one of my favourite linemen at a mere 50k.
Interesting.
The Corn lineman. Interesting. It's an aggressive positional that can it's just like it's a worse Norseman. Explain yourself, Trips.
Well, pairs nicely with the frenzy, with the ability to move my pieces around. So sidestep blitzer, ability to position him where you want, and then to be followed up by a frenzy lineman.
Yeah, I like it. So that brings up my 9, and I'm about to Age of Sigmar you both. Oh no, I did my maths wrong. I'm way out.
Do you think you're 100k below?
I think I did, yeah. I was like, I'll take a cheap positional now and then jump ahead of you. But the Fungus Flinger, for the same reason as you've got the Chainsaw Ben and Trips, you've got the Bomber. Just that little bit of utility. You know how we know what bombers, and they all warp the game, and for such a small amount, the Fungus Flinger is just an excellent little disaster reaver. So that rounds out 9. Interesting, we've all got a secret weapon. Okay, so round 10, 3 rounds to go. BT, Trips, then me.
Okay, it's time, and I'm going to take my big guy, and it's going to be the best big guy. Or is it?
The Bloodthirster? Those were the days.
Oh.
There's so many great big guys to choose from at this point. I think there's only one bad. There's only one bad big guy, which is the untrained troll.
I'm going to take the Bull Centaur.
Okay.
Ooh.
Because they're great. I've relied on it super hard in the last league, and I only ever needed one. They're just perfect. They're fast. My whole team is pretty fast, and they can keep up with strength. So
yeah, movement 9, strength 4. It's just amazing.
Not bad.
Bull Centaur is awesome. Okay, Trips. What do you got?
I'm going to continue my looking at the line of scrimmage, but in my slightly weird way of why would you take that to keep you going? I'm going to take Khorne Bloodseeker on the line.
I love the Bloodseeker. Spoiler alert, got a couple of them in the College of Metal, and they are just terrifying. And God, when we played them in 7s, they were so good as well, right? So I love that.
And I think having a few frenzy pieces really useful. Having too many is a headache. But got a fair bit of creativity in the team there so far.
Okay, There is a player I want to take, but I think if I don't take him now, it's going to get taken. But I think given what I actually need, what do I go with? I know what we'll do. I'm thinking about more beef for the line here, and I was thinking of taking a tree man for the high strength to win that kaiju combat. But I think I'm going to take the undead mummy instead.
Reliable strength 5.
Movement 3, no nega trait, starts with mighty blow. Actually, him going on the line next to the Croxagore is pretty horrifying. And clearly I'm losing the cash battle here. So I've just dropped myself into pick 3 now for the rest of the draft. And that's all right. So yeah, that drops me at the mummy. So we've got 2 picks to go. Going into round...
It reminds you of like playing Euro games, and going first as always feels so powerful. Like
it does.
You take that action to move yourself first.
Exactly. Yeah. We got Blood Tithe going next, then Trips, then myself. So BT is picking next. He's got a War Dancer, a Skink, an Amazon Blocker, a Dark Elf Blitzer, a Valkyrie, a Skaven Lyman of the Underworld variety, a Goblin Chainsaw, an Orc Blitzer, a Dwarf Blocker, and a Bull Centaur. So 2 strength 4 movement 6 pieces there on the roster. A cheeky...
Especially... Oh, sorry. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say a cheeky movement 8 War Dancer and a Skink as a nice movement 8 scoring threat as well.
To back up your... Oh, and now you've taken the mummy especially, this does cement this choice, and that is the Chaos Dwarf Minotaur.
That is exactly the player I thought if I didn't pick, it was going to get taken.
It's what I nearly took last time. Then I saw the Bull Centaur above it and thought, I can risk it.
It's the best Minotaur.
It is. It can hit a player and carry on. So
it's just excellent. Doesn't have animal. Well, it does. Yeah, this guy having animal savagery just means he is just.
He's better because the Chaos one has Unchanneled Fury, right?
Yeah, just screams in the sky and you lose your blitz. But that is a excellent pick and takes you over the 1 million mark now. Not that it matters, but just for interest's sake. All right, Trips.
So it wouldn't be a team of mine if I didn't go somewhere dark elfy along the way. And there's a bit of a theme to the team. So she has to join the team.
The frenzy team, yeah.
The War Dancer goes to Trips. Moving 7, frenzy, dodge, jump up is very, 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 very good.
I'm not intending on lining a big line of scrimmage up, but I am going to run round and cause chaos with my frenzy mad lot.
Okay, there is another player that I desire to have on the roster. It is not quite as good, but I think the Rat Ogre has just been so good for me in every team that it's been on since the Bonehead Championship, when the Patreons decided we need to run the Rat Ogre for the Skaven team. Before then, I was a no Rat Ogre kind of guy, but now I'm Clan Molder through and through. I want to be a Rat Ogre team. So that takes us into the last round. Now I'm going to ad lib because this is the last pick, and I want everybody to have time to look at the other options just to make sure, because I know exactly what's going to happen. Tomorrow we're going to go, I wish I'd taken this guy. I can't believe we didn't draft this positional. Because I'm going to go through the list after we picked it and see which players we haven't chosen that I thought would be a bit of a surprise. So to go into round 12, it is going to be BT first, then Trips, then myself. So Blood Tithe has got the Skink and the War Dancer as the movement 8 threats. An Amazon Blocker and a Bull Centaur as movement 6 strength 4 threats. An Enslaved Minotaur as the big guy Blitzer, a Dark Elf Blitzer and a Orc Blitzer as the actual Blitzers. The Thrower Ball Handler would be the Valkyrie, and he's got a couple of utility pieces there. Dwarf Blocker Lineman for the tackle, Skaven Clown Rat just because Skavens are amazing, and then the Chainsaw to just cause a bit of carnage. Similarly, Trips has gone with the Bomber to cause carnage. Got a movement 8 threat in the Werewolf and the Elven Union Catcher. And then it's just got an absolute ton of brilliant players here. A semi-catcher in the Amazon Blitzer, which is basically an Amazon catcher as well. It's a good positional, nice bit of dodge. And then Troll Slayer with Frenzy. The Corn Lineman with Frenzy. The Bloodseeker with Frenzy. The Witch Elf with Frenzy. So that's a horrific amount of hurt. High Elf Thrower as the Thrower. And a Black Orc Blocker. Black Orc Brawler to go on the line to do the meat work. And over on the rat side, we've got 2 Gutter Runners as a scoring threats. We've got the Skaven Thrower, the Underworld Thrower as my throwing positional. We've got a Nobility Blitzer for that movement 7 block catch. The High Elf Blitzer for the movement 6, or are they movement 6 or movement 7 Trips? High Elf Blitzers.
High Elf Blitzers are movement 7.
Man, they're good. As a kind of pseudo scorer there. Ulf Warrener as a bit of a linebacker. Snotling Fungus Flinger to just cause carnage. Then my front line is looking like a Croxagore and a Mummy. We've got an Ulf Warrener to be a linebacker and a Dark Elf Assassin to take on the War Dancer, the Werewolf, the Elven Union Catcher, those low armored pieces on everybody else's team. And the Dark Elf Witch Elf is a good target for that as well. And then I've got my Rat Ogre, who can either go on the front line and double down with 2 prehensile tail pieces, or take the cheeky blitz, frenzy, strength 5, movement 6, and then just put in prehensile tail on multiple strength 3 players. Is just an excellent way to use the Rat Ogre as well. So all of these 3 teams are looking pretty exciting. We've each got 1 pick left to go, and the next pick, the final pick for Ben, round 12. BT, who you got?
Human Thrower.
Okay.
So I was waiting to the very last pick to pick my quarterback, because there are so many good choices, and I don't think you can really go wrong with a lot of them. I think Skaven ones are strictly better. However, seeing all that frenzy lined up, and there's a lot of damaging strength, and your assassin, I think the extra armor in this regard is going to be slightly better. So that's why I've gone for human here.
I just want to say that might be the first time anyone's ever said I wanted to draft my quarterback last because there's lots of them around. That's literally the opposite of the NFL draft. Although, Brock Purdy, I guess, Trips.
Very much. Little Mr. Irrelevant himself.
Literally the last player to get drafted last year, and nearly took his team to the Super Bowl. So
wow,
I know, stuck on that. Tom Brady.
Going from picking last, picked first then, I guess.
There you go. All right, so Brock Purdy, picked by Bloodtime Ben. Trips. Is there another? Are there any more frenzy players available? I suppose you could go Old World Troll Slayer now at this point.
You could. I did think about it, but you've got the whole animosity starts to creep in there. And I haven't gone big guy. I've had pseudo big guys in. And I'm clearly going to be giving up inducements, but not too many inducements. So I'm going to finish off my team with a little bit of a Yeti.
The Yeti. Yeah, that is a really solid choice. A poor man's Rat Ogre, really. So can't knock it too much.
Well, there was another Rat Ogre I could have gone for. And
I was going to say, you say that when he uses claws and all your big guys, Ben.
Yeah, I know. I'll tell you what, I'm sat here looking at 12 thinking, do I want a third big guy for the line, actually, at this point? But no, I know exactly what my last pick is going to be, because it is underrated and I think barely considered. And it is. I am flicking through them just to make sure I've not missed something. I'm like, is there someone I really want? And actually, there's a ton of great players out here that we haven't gone with. But no, it isn't going to be the Pump Wagon. Although can't really knock the Pump Wagon. It is going to be
the Death Roller.
Oh, it's tempting. The Slan Catcher.
Oh.
Edge 2+, pogo stick, movement 7, no dodge, but actually amazing at jumping into a cage, getting in the way. Another really good scoring threat. I love the slant catcher, and I got a rat ogre, a mummy, and a Croxagore there to be a lot of mass. The assassin to be counter mass. The fungus flinger to just be fun. Couple of blitzers, couple of speedy scoring threats. This team is absolutely filthy. And team values.
All of these teams.
Yes.
Yeah. So I came in at 1175. Trips at 1170, and then Blood Tithe just slumming it down there at 1090.
Hey, I get inducements.
Yeah, you can afford.
I get 80k per bomber.
Oh. I love that. Just scum your way through and take that. All right, guys, talk us through your lists while I have a look through the big list and see who else. Whoa, that was a mistake. Who else we haven't taken? So, Trips, talk us through the logic of your roster.
So I definitely was very aware that the gutters were going to appear in Ben's teams somewhere, and
typical Blood Tithe,
and very much I needed a scoring threat, so wanted the werewolf there as the scoring threat, but also that fast safety to hunt those annoying little rats down, and have seen the werewolf really used well in that aspect. And then I've really enjoyed playing with frenzy teams who've got that ability, particularly when you are chasing players in a spread out game. Frenzy gives you that ability to just try that one person, chase the ball down, knock it out, and see how it will go. And at very worst, a bit of frenzy and rushing the ball around at least means you can push players around and then try other things with them. So trying to get effectively a 2-squad team. I've got a sort of the line of scrimmage and the pain they're going to bring, but then plenty of movement with some agility and ability to get the ball around. And then just to polish it off, really, a Yeti to cause chaos in the middle of that, and could probably step up to the line or step back and follow the ball around.
Any regrets? Any picks you'd do differently?
So definitely, I was quite after the Dark Elf Blitzer, and wasn't surprised to see that going off in the fourth round. So would have liked the Dark Elf Blitzer. Would have taken the Amazon blocker if they'd been on for another couple of rounds as well. Give up the dodge on the line of scrimmage would have given flexibility. Quite happy with the lineup. Really pleased to get some inbuilt skills into players as well.
Yeah, the EU Blitzer is a really solid pickup. Interesting. Okay, BT, give us the rundown, dude.
Okay, so with this list, I wanted a primary dash game, which is usually where I'm more comfortable playing. So that's where you got some key players like the War Dancer and the Dark Elf Blitzer. They just sort of, I feel like you only really need 2 good, strong dash pieces that can catch a ball with someone who can throw the balls. That's hence the human thrower. But anything would have taken a role. To just sort of really be that threat. So I wanted that threat there as a primary method of play. A couple of supporting pieces like the Skink and the Skaven lineman. The Skaven lineman was a tactical choice because I wanted a 50k player to take the next round first. But that's probably the one regret. I don't know if it's going to be that useful, but I think having the cheap movement 7 still will go, come in handy sometimes.
You've got to have a player start on the bench. So.
Yeah, I mean, exactly right. The Looney I'm glad to have. I think that's going to be a real distraction more than anything. I think it's going to be useful against all this armor that I'm up against. Having the chainsaw's good. It's really good against gutter runners. I mean, if you keep that back and safe away from bombs, that's a real, okay, I'm going to think twice about moving my gutter runner just yet. There's a chainsaw right there. So that's a good thing to have. But then, so I had this dash game and this threat game, and then pretty much towards the end, I just wanted the secondary, let's say my War Dancer and Dark Elf and Skink get taken out super quickly. I've got a lot of really tough bash players there that I can grind out maybe another touchdown in. So that's kind of the reserve team. It's the line of scrimmage and reserves. That's kind of where they stand. High armor, slow movement, but really solid, reliable pieces. So that's generally with this game.
Yeah, I like the Bull Centaur pickup towards the end because you've got the ability to pass and rush through, but actually you've got a fast, dashy game with the Bull Centaur to fall back on. So your positionals, although we've got a high amount of positionals because of the way we've picked our team, you're not reliant on one or two key positionals, and if they get squished or eaten by something, the team falls down around it. There's a nasty second method of scoring to fall back on.
Yeah. So I'm glad to pick up the Minotaur as well, because that's a real big guy killer. Frenzy Strength 6 is great. So
he's a proper cruise missile.
Yeah.
Any pick regrets? Anything you wish you'd taken earlier or skipped?
Again, only really the lineman, this clan rat lineman. I think that was maybe I could have just gone for the Looney and got a second pick. But I don't know. I wanted to keep everything a bit low, and I think having 80k spare is actually also quite useful. So
yeah, even if we said, actually, you know what, let's have cash up to 1300 or 1250 at this point of view, and rerolls of 50k, you'd have an extra reroll.
Exactly.
Even without using inducements. So actually, that TV budget it's going to be interesting. I think when we run it back for sevens to do something like this. Now, I super happy with my top 3 picks. I just, I just am. Nobility Blitzer, I just, that was a mistake. I should have taken the Dark Elf Blitzer, I think, at that point. I mean, the Nobility Blitzer is a good Blitzer, and using him in, we had him in Heavens last year. Isn't it Heavens? I think.
Yeah, he's in Heavens.
Yeah.
Everyone's in Heavens.
Yeah, right. He's excellent, but actually, that catch versus Edge 2+, it's just, that was stupid on my part. The Ulfwerener, actually, it's interesting. I think I take that strength 4 frenzy safety a bit higher than you guys, which was interesting to see. And then the Dark Elf Assassin was definitely a counter pick. I actually think he'll do a great job, in this kind of environment, where he gets to assassinate a guy, which when you're kind of doing a draft like this, it's really important. You've got one War Dancer, you've got one Skink. Actually, if he goes and takes out the one Skink, it's a massive change. Whereas in standard Blood Bowl, it's okay, you take out the Gutter Runner, they've got 3 more. You take out the War Dancer, they've got the other War Dancer and the Catcher, and it's kind of I don't know, maybe it doesn't feel quite so good. Fungus Flinger is just an excellent player, but I mean, the Mummy and the Croxagore, big mass, cheap as well, and then the Rogue there, the Slang Catcher, that's just a Sprinkles glory pick. There was a couple of players that I kind of flagged up as kind of being surprised that they didn't go a little bit higher. The Human Blitzer, just straight up Human Blitzer, not making it into the top picks here. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I think they're a solid piece, and it's kind of the exact same reason I picked up the Orc Blitzer. But you just want solid, cheap reliability. I think if we had a budget constraint, they would have shown up. But whereas kind of just we're just take the best stuff.
Yeah.
There is a lot of players with block out there. So
I thought it was quite interesting because the Human Blitzer you consider to be great, but I think an element of that is quantity over quality. Actually, when you play against humans, there's 4 of the guys, and they are always good. It's interesting. In OWA, the Human Blitzer is great, but Trips, he always feels like second fiddle to the Slayer.
Well, he's second fiddle to the Slayer in terms of hitting, but he is, in OWA, your Human Blitzer is your scoring threat, so they tend to skill really quickly.
Yeah.
Particularly with the animosity, it's easy to keep the ball in a single race and detail. I think what Ben said about the price is absolutely true. I think if there'd been a price limit, that Blitzer would have gone earlier because they're really flexible for development. But when you can pick a different Blitzer who comes with a better stat or a better skill to start off with, I think that's definitely where we went.
Any picks on there, guys, that surprise you as being some of the first ones off the board? or you look at these lists and you're like, no, that makes sense. Like these are, and we've got 36 different players here, and there's still plenty of good ones on the board.
I'm surprised that you already covered it, but then Ability Blitzer was a surprise. But you seem sore about that, so I won't dwell on that too much.
For me, it's the Ability Blitzer. The Dark Elf Assassin is. I'm like, oh. I mean, I love a Dark Elf, but
I'd always rather have the Chainsaw, and I know he went first, but I feel like if you're going to take an assassin, the Chainsaw's a better pick. But I know he's already gone.
I would have taken a Chaos Beastman for 25k less and had horns.
What, than the Assassin?
Yeah.
Oh, the Assassin isn't up there because I value him that high. I just think as a counterplay, as a threat.
Yeah. You're willing to trade the Assassin for another player.
And Assassin for War Dancer, Assassin, it's kind of like...
Yeah. You got to catch him. I feel like there's so many beefy players here. He's just going to get blocked down before he gets a chance to do the stat.
I'm a bit disappointed in the amount of big guys you guys took, but that might just be my problem.
I would have had more had you not already taken them. So it was kind of like
What? There's plenty left.
I think no, it's not so much of you already took them. It's more of the fact you have 3.
Oh, okay.
And I feel like it's more just like counter picking. Yeah, like I mean, if you hadn't, I would have done the same. But because you already have, I can feel like I can counter it with like that Minotaur and rely on the fact you're expanding your TV and all of that. I think Trips's Corn Lineman is an interesting choice. They're a liability in my book, but you might have more experience or more better experiences with them.
As a if you don't consider him a lineman, actually, he's a 50k positional, like a 50k frenzy positional. Is that what you're thinking?
I was trying to keep the TV down a bit because I wanted to get the last. I wanted to pull out of the last pick for the last couple of rounds. And yeah, he's a player to stick on the line of scrimmage, and he's got frenzy, so he can be used, or he can be just left there to gum up the line a bit.
So in the last league, I rolled a random general on a hobgoblin, and it got frenzy. So it's a 50k frenzy lineman, basically. It's the same thing. And in his first game, his first block, he died. So I think that's maybe why I see it. It's like,
hey.
He didn't die, he knocked himself out or something. But yeah.
I had 2 goblin bruisers with frenzy on the Black Mountain Bucks, and we got to the semis. So I kept one of them for the next season as well, because that's different because they're stunty and they can sneak into places. I'm going to do a thing now to the board.
And I think just on the frenzy, I think because I've got a lot of edge or sidestep and pieces around, that gives me the ability to use the frenzy pieces, particularly by running players around and causing chaos and racking up the tackle zones there. So it was all about punching a hole for people to run through.
Yeah.
I have deleted all but our top 7 picks just to kind of... I feel like we draft very differently if this was when it comes to us drafting for 7s. But from because we were talking about like, what about team value? How's it going to look? I would have been at 705. BT would have been at 580. And Trips would have been at 670. So BT could have legally played that from a cost point of view. It'll be interesting to see how it goes when we do the 7s one, because I really do love the idea of playing it out, because actually I think with 7s you can do, and picking up 7 guys is fine. Would you guys want to do a cap? Would you want to do more than 7 players? Because this is 11, so we did 12. Would you want to do an 8-player draft? Would you want to do a cash cap?
I think cash cap.
I think cash cap, yeah.
Yeah. I think that would make the draft very different.
Yeah.
I mean, throw an ability blitz. Maybe a 700k cash cap would be fine. And you can pick up to 8 players. Because if you run out of cash, you lose your 8th pick.
I think
700. Yeah.
I think do
700.
Sorry, Tracy, go. Oh, we've done it. We've said the same thing. Okay, I'll go. So I think the normal sevens, 600k, 4 positional cap. I think that'd be. Oh, can you actually get enough linemen with that?
Well, that would be it. We'd have to.
Yeah.
The other way we could do it is we could each pick. Well, we could either just say like, actually, everyone gets human linemen to pad out the roster.
Oh, that's a bit boring. Yeah. No, maybe it's 700k with this. Yeah, with 8 players. Yeah.
I was thinking 700 might be just a bit too much. I think 600's a bit too low. If you look at where we are for our sevens teams there, I think somewhere around a 650 would challenge you, and they're definitely pulling in some more 50k, 40k players in there.
So with our 8 picks, you were 760, I was 790, and Ben was 660. But I think you're right. I think forcing picks 5, 6, 7 to be cheaper lineman ones or kind of counter cost drafting would be really interesting. So maybe 650. I like the 700 to go with sevens. It just
yeah,
but then
numeric alliteration.
But that's easy then for someone to go 7 players at 100k each, and that's a pretty awesome, awesome team. You're not forcing that decision about what you'll see. The skink lineman go quicker. You'll see.
I'm pretty sure Milton will first pick the skink lineman. Like, I mean, I was. Were you guys surprised by anybody's top pick? I mean. I was
surprised at Trips' top pick. I would have gone werewolf in my top 3, but to go number 1, first pick of the game to go werewolf, I think that's a bold choice.
It's really interesting. Trips with his chaotic evil alignment, which you wouldn't suspect. I think, and Trips, I'm putting words fully into your mouth now, so open wide. I think he took the werewolf knowing that I at least was going to take the gutter, and that the technical best stat player is the war dancer. To be the werewolf eats gutter runners and is a threat to the war dancer because he's frenzy. 1 assist and you've got 4 die block on a war dancer, even with no tackle. It potentially throws him down.
I definitely didn't want to see the werewolf on the same team as a gutter runner.
Yeah, that's true. And he would have had first pick again. Gutter runner and werewolf is quite scary. So
yeah, and it's like, if I'm going to spend a lot of money on my first pick, then I'm going to have a player that can play on both the offense and defense in a way that fits the crazy way I like to play the game.
I can see you spent all day thinking about this.
I have had.
Oh, guys, when it comes to doing the sevens draft, it's going to be, there's going to be some mad tactics, because you're going to have to balance the cash cost, and counter drafting is going to be a real thing, because we're just going to, and I mean, I know I kind of threw out the idea earlier that maybe we just remove half of the picks, like just a random, like boom, half of the field is not available, to make it more interesting, like ahead of the draft. Like for the NFL, the thing that's so exciting about the draft is the worse your team did, the higher the picks you get, which is a really good like balance thing. But also every draft class is different. So this draft class, there was some pretty good quarterbacks, but it was kind of like it changes each year. The year before there was no good throwers, right? It was all just meatheads, and this year it's all tight ends. So it would be a lot of good blitzers in this class and no catchers. It was like every kind of draft gets different. So it might be interesting as well. I think for the first one, I think we just whack everything out there and go YOLO, 700k up to eight picks. And then we use like desperate measures and stuff to balance it out. But it might be fun at some point to just be like randomly remove half the players, so that actually maybe the war dancer isn't available for this draft. Like maybe maybe there's no gutter runners.
Yeah, or you take every player out over 120k or something like that, and that would force you to use it.
What are you doing? That's
no big guys.
What you need, big guys.
Well, you do,
trolls-
and as we can
trolls
see.
count.
That's a
Get
third of my team. And the good thing is, even if we do like a 650 or a 700k cap in sevens, you can only get really 3 big guys in there while having other players, which is good. I did kind of think if we went for a limitless sevens, just be like 3 Rad Ogres, a Minotaur, an Ogre, and a Gutter Runner is your tip, which would be ridiculous. And I take it back. Oh no, I love it. The only other player that kind of I thought might have been taken a bit higher was the Tomb Guardian. Movement 4, strength 5 is really good, but for me it was the lack of mighty blow.
Yeah, they often just stand there and become, they get 2-died by someone with block.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And I guess a lot of the time strength 4 and strength 5 are no different.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
The player I thought that might go towards the end was the Chaos Blocker.
It's a really good positional.
But again, there's a lot of players with good starting skills there. So
Yeah. All right. So if for sevens we say 8 picks, 700k cap, you can, obviously if you can only afford to run 7 players, you can only run 7 players. If you can only afford to run 6 players and you do the draft completely wrong, I think you only get to run 6 players.
What, the anti-Milton? You can't get 8 players on, you can only have 6.
Yeah, I mean, if you draft so poorly, you can only afford 6 or 5 or 6 players. That's all you get on the pitch. I think would be more than fair. And I think with 4 people drafting, it will be even more threadbare. Yeah, I'd say even more threadbare. There was plenty of good picks. We've got 36 here. If we have 8 plus 8, 16, 32 picks. So it'd be about the same. It would just be split into 4. And it's interesting to see how stuff got clustered together.
Yeah.
No, really cool. Really cool. Thanks very much for running that through, guys. I thought it was a really good exercise to kind of
It
pick
was
out.
so much fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
love a good draft. So yeah, we definitely
fully recommend doing it with your friends if you have a pleasant evening to do, because you'll find some really interesting looking at team makeups.
I just can't wait to draft like 2 Croxagores for sevens. The Slan Croxagore, the standard Croxagore. It's going to be wicked. Yeah. It's going to be wicked. Okay, guys, thank you so much for running through that. I thought it was really good, and hopefully it was a good way to kind of a cheeky catalyst to identify some of the best players and where they're useful, and some of the other players you consider to be great. And actually, if you've got one of them, like the Skink Lineman is a lineman, but if you can only have one of them, it's a great positional, which is a really interesting point. And yeah, I thought it was a good exercise, and we got to, draft. I love drafting. But I think for now, I'm going to wrap up. Any more to add, guys?
I think that's it. Good fun.
Wicked. Right, well, let us know what you think. And yeah, we'll be sure to do a sevens draft soon, because I really want to build and play a nonsense team like that. I think that'd be pretty good fun to do. But anyway, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you very much for watching. We'll be back soon with more Bubba content. Happy blocking.